I'm looking forward to meeting this young man. He really gave it his best try. It's remarkable. He attempted to become the youngest person ever to swim the English Channel. He's 11 years old. His name is Jason Pipoli. He's from Denver, Colorado. And although he did not make it, he came within 5 miles of the French coastline. And he says he's going back.
It was a year after his accident, and he was telling me, I'm going to just go and swim the channel next year.
The condition of the vehicle was that it was upside down on its roof, pinned up against a tree.
Don't exactly swim in a straight line, do you? You have a lot of tides there to contend with.
And you can't go against the tides. They'll just bring you back.
It took me about 8 months to adapt physically to being in a wheelchair. Mentally, it took years, and I could say I'm still adjusting to this day.
Thank you, Tom. We're back. Pete Barber is here. The Galloway has been raced. I'm looking forward to meeting this young man. He really gave it his best try. It's remarkable. He attempted to become the youngest person ever to swim the English Channel. He's 11 years old. His name is Jason Pipoli. He's from Denver, Colorado. And although he did not make it, he came within 5 miles of the French coastline. And he says he's going back. We thought you'd like to meet him. Would you welcome Jason Pipoli? Jason?
Well, I got a call to be on the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. And I thought, wow, you know, meet the king of late night TV, and that was really neat. My sister, my dad, and I went over to England. I learned about the history about the channel, learned about Shakespeare Beach, which is where most of the swimmers leave from. Learned about the oldest person, the youngest person, the fastest, the slowest. I learned all about that. And at the time, I was 9. And my dad went in the water, and it took him about 15 and a half hours to swim, which was, just blew me away. And I thought, man, you know what? You got 2 years, man. Maybe you can do this. You've been in the water. You know what it's like. You've swam in the ocean. You have a good idea of what to expect. And now it's just a matter of, do you think you can prepare?
And Jason was not big. He didn't have a lot of fat on him. He was lean. When he was 11 years old, I don't think he weighed over 120 pounds.
You know, all the kids want their dads to love them, and that was probably part of it, to follow in my father's footsteps of doing the English Channel.
So you swam a little over 20, right?
About 20.
About 20 miles. What got to you? Just fatigue?
Well, I was tired. You figure after 40 waves hitting you each minute, then at 60 minutes or in an hour, and I was in there 8 hours and 23 minutes. That really takes its toll.
Yeah. I would.
That was a tough swim for an 11-year-old kid his size back then.
And I lasted 8.5 hours and swam almost 17 miles.
Well, you shouldn't feel badly because if you don't, there's no success without having a little failure along the way. You plan to try this again, I assume, right?
Yes, definitely. It was a lot of fun.
I was real upset at the time. You know, I didn't finish what I set out to do, and when I got pulled out, I immediately began to cry. But a lot of good things had transpired from it. Well, while I was driving up the Frying Pan Road, up to Root Eye Reservoir one morning to watch the sunrise, I was driving too fast because I was upset about an event that transpired about a woman, and I had actually drank a beer before I left in the morning. The alcohol probably contributed to my state of mind that I was in, and I was in the car and I was driving angry and I was driving too fast, and it was practically suicidal. I closed my eyes and I drifted off the road a little bit, and as I opened them I saw that I was drifted off the road, and I aggressively, angrily corrected and jerked the wheel too hard, and it caused the car to slide, and it slid for a while, and as it slid I said, oh man, and I tried to correct the wheel again, and in the heat of the moment, I turned the wheel the wrong way. Right when the wheels turned like that, it pushed the car off the road, went down a steep embankment, and hit a tree. I describe it as being in a trapped elevator with the cable on the top floor just snaps and you're falling, and terror that you feel is so immense and so terrifying, utterly terrifying, that all you do is want it to hit. You want it to be over. Lord, why? You know, why won't you let me be with you today? You can't leave me here like this. And once again, I got the feeling that said, I have plans for you. Severity of the accident, I knew from that I just couldn't feel my legs. I mean, I knew enough about spinal cord injuries before that to know that I was looking at a lifelong change. And by the time they got me out, I was already going into hypothermia. Then they took me to the hospital where the MRI and x-rays revealed I had completely broke my spinal cord at T8-9, right in half.
I could remember the phone call. The nurse called and she said, "Oh, is Carl Pipley there?" "Yes, this is me." She said, "Well, your son has been in an accident." And, you know, as a parent, your heart starts beating. Uh-oh. And then she said very quickly, "But he's here. He's able to talk. He's able to talk to you." So I said, "Okay, you know, let me hand you the phone." So then he gets on the phone, and the first thing he said was, "I'm alive." That was the first thing he said. And then I knew it was pretty bad.
The pain is indescribable. It's not, you can't think of it. I gritted my teeth so hard for it that I loosened my teeth. And I was hooked up to a self-administered morphine drip. And as I would wake up and I would start feeling that pain again, and the fear would be so immense that all I could sit there and do was start pushing that drip again, because all I wanted to do was fall back asleep.
And but then I saw the x-rays. The lady showed them to me at the hospital, and it was just, the spine was, his back was broken and out of alignment and pushed up, where you have the vertebrae like this, they were split apart and then pushed up. So you have the spinal cord there's just no way. And I looked at that, and it was, up to that point, there was always hope. But when she showed me those x-rays, it was, you knew that he wasn't going to be walking.
It was just so fearful, I was so consumed with fear, the fear of what am I going to do? Are people going to have to take care of me? Am I going to be a burden? When I think about it, it's like I can't imagine hell being much worse.
First time I saw him was very gut-wrenching because he was on this table. And the table kept moving. It was a table, he was strapped on this table and it kept moving around like this. And I guess medically, since he was paralyzed, they had to do that so gangrene wouldn't set in.
The purpose of what I was doing in that area was to ski every day, was to mountain climb, to rock climb, and that was my passion for, you know, in life, and that's what I love to do. And the thought of not ever being able to do those things, it was overwhelming. And I remember when I would wake up, I would just try to go right back to sleep. The most important thing that you can do after an injury like this is accept it, because it's a fine line of going over to be bitter and hateful and angry, or accepting it and learning and moving on.
But it's hard when you're 26 years old and you get in an accident like that. It's a tough deal but he's faced it. I think probably swimming has helped him get through it.
The first thing, right at the beginning of the show, Johnny does his opening monologue, and he's introducing the guests that are going to be on tonight, and he says,
He attempted to become the youngest person ever to swim the English Channel. He's 11 years old. His name is Jason Pipley. He's from Denver, Colorado.
Jason Pipley's going to be on, and he said Jason Pipley almost swam the English Channel at 11 years old.
And he says he's going back.
And he says he's going back. And right then, I kind of thought, like, man, you know, I never did go back. And now I kind of thought to myself, man, I wonder if you could do it now. And right then it just planted that seed, just that first sentence. And he says he's going back. It planted the seed. And I started thinking, maybe you can do it now. The first thing I had to do was go learn how to swim again. I went to the pool right when I got home, and it was probably the next day I put on my suit when I got back to where I was, and I didn't even tell anybody this. All I could do was float across and pull myself from one end of the pool to the other. And I went and got out of the pool after being completely exhausted after like 15 minutes, and just drove home almost kind of in tears that I said, this is insane. You can't do that. You can't swim the English Channel, you know. But the next day, all I did was went home, got up the next day, went to work, put my swimsuit on after work, went back to the pool that night and floated across back and forth for 20 minutes. Then a few days after that, 30 minutes, and then 45, and then an hour I was floating back and across, just floating and working out and starting to build strength. Finally, one of the guards, one of the coaches there recommended me putting a pool buoy in between my legs. And he gave me a rubber band to put around him in the pool buoy. And once I put the pool buoy in there, my legs floated up and I was really starting to gain some distance and ground back and forth. And at that moment, I thought, this is possible. This is possible, I can do this.
Well, I guess the first time I saw him swim in Bernie Lake, I went out there and watched him get out of his car, get in the wheelchair, roll down to the lake, get out of the wheelchair, put his little buoy on. I didn't help him at all. I just watched, and I didn't want to help because I didn't know how to help. He was swimming, 2-3 hours a day, and started swimming, and then all of a sudden he's in May, probably 2 years ago, and he's like, I think I'm going to go swim the English Channel. And so then I go, look, we're in May, you got to get a boat, you got to get a hotel, you got to get all this. And And he's like, I'm just going to go over there. I'm going to just go over there and do it.
So there was not a whole lot. There was one person that believed in me, my sister.
I was like, yeah, definitely. You have to. Awesome. That was my reaction.
I have been a swimmer all my life, and I swam the English Channel with all of my faculties, including my legs. And I can't imagine someone swimming, I cannot imagine a paraplegic swimming the English Channel or any other long distance swim. It's mind-boggling to me.
I'm kind of like, let's get it on. Talk is cheap. Let's shut up and go.
You're here, you're going across the channel, you've got the tides running against you.
During the height of my training, I would wake up at about 4:20 in the morning. Come here. Oh, we're going for a ride. I had the timing perfect, where I would get 3 to 3.5 hours in every morning.
If I'm not mistaken, the way the crow flies, it's 20.2 miles from Shakespeare Beach to Cap Grenade.
Training out in the open water just really is good to give you that open water feel. It gets you used to that real feel of swimming in the ocean. It's actually a lot harder to swim in fresh water than it is to swim in salt water. So it's just excellent, excellent training. One of the things recently is I've been swimming at night, and that's kind of done it a little bit. There's been times I've been out there all by myself in the middle of the lake with your goggles on, and you cannot tell which way you're swimming, and you don't know where you're going, and you don't know how far you are from shore, and that's kind of scary. And then you get out of the water and you laugh about it afterwards, and boy, I sure was scared in there. Grab me and set me down right on there. And
Put all that stuff.
Yeah, we put all the stuff in. We take it across it.
Let's load it up.
yeah, they're just down here a little bit. That's not, you don't have to go too far down. Yeah.
Flip right over the back now.
Wait. Put me on the side first. Ready? Let's go.
All right.
Woo. It's cold. It's got to go to the beach. Normally they would have to clear the water by 4 feet before they can start to swim, but this chap obviously can't clear the water, so he's going to have to go as far as he can towards the water's edge.
The cold water is really the major concern. I mean, I don't like having this belly on me, but I would force myself to eat. Getting that layer of fat on you is very important in a cold water endurance swim like this. You're not going to last out there if you don't have that fat on you.
He's doing 67 strokes a minute, which is steady. It's exactly what he's been doing the whole time. So he's not skipping a beat. Steady, strong, smooth stroke. Food is just a powder substance called Cytomax mixed in water. And he's taken about a half a scoop of that mixed in water, and it's heated up. and he's got takes about a half of a Gatorade bottle, half of one of those water bottles full of it. And he's been taking 10 seconds to get it down, which is really good because he doesn't want to waste time.
Jason, there's baclofen in it. Make sure you drink it all. His legs are spasming. You can see them in the water. They're bending at the knee like this. He has a harness to keep him from going like this. So he has the baclofen. Baclofen is a muscle relaxer. Keeps him from spasming.
So what?
Helps control the spasming. So, because that counteracts him swimming, makes it very difficult.
Put a pill in next.
He takes them often. He has very bad spasms.
That's the halfway point on the chart. It doesn't mean it's the halfway point in the swim.
Jeez, that's a long way.
You don't want to walk that long, bloody swimming.
Pick up the stroke a little bit. Sorry.
As long as I stay well hydrated, stop and drink my hot liquids every half hour, and keep a good steady pace, I think I'm gonna be all right.
Keep it up. Your stroke is strong. Looking good. Keep it up. Boy, that coastline of France sure looks good. Doesn't that look good?
That's wonderful.
Too bad Jason can't see it right now. The other side is in sight. All right. Wrench is gonna pull up with the boat, and when you swim next to the dinghy, they're gonna pin lights on you because it's gonna be dark when you get in. miles. 2 miles from shore.
Now you do know, he said if he felt good, he's going to swim back.
Yeah.
He feels good, he said he's swimming back. He did. He said, I'm not going to come back next year to do the double, I'm going to do the double right now.
You're funny, Gina.
He said that, I'm not kidding.
We're gonna go straight in. Go straight in, no tide. Your last feed. Don't waste time burping. Motor in.
Follow the big lights.
Come with us.
Follow the dinghy in.
Come on, keep swimming.
Follow us. Swim in the shore, get your rock, and then swim right back out to the boat, and we'll put you in the boat. Oh, there he is.
Where is he?
He's coming back out.
All right.
Ready? 2, 3, go. Hey! Oh, there we go. And the worst part?
There was no worst part. Oh, swallowing diesel fuel.
Oh, I know. You were in that diesel fuel for I don't know how long.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
Or I think what is going to make him happiest if someone would say, you know, I saw your story, and you really inspired me. And if it wasn't for you, I don't think I would be where I'm at today. And I think that's one of the things that would really make him, I think that's what's driving him.
I mean, the second time we had a lot of fun. Once he did it, we had a very good time. I mean, we had the best time was cracking open the champagne bottle on Reg Brickle's boat. That was good. That was great fun.
That was tough.
It was tough.
That was a tough one. You know what I said to myself? I said, I don't even care where I'm at, what time it is. I know I'm going to be here until it's dark. Well, the first time I saw someone in an RGO type device, and I don't know exactly what it is, was a paraplegic that was standing up that had 2 outriggers or 2 canes. Right then, it went on the wish list. You know, I said, you know what, if I ever get the money to get a pair of those, I'm going to go get them.
Just trying to get that weight down to the leg.
And he says if you don't have both of your feet on the ground, that means your weight's going through somewhere else, which is your arms.
The first day that I put them on, I thought, holy cow, this is insane. This is so tough. And my shirt was soaked, and I was out of breath, and I was like going, man, and it was frustrating. Positive attitudes don't just come around. They're worked at. I had no idea about the profound effect it was going to have on me psychologically. I mean, just being able to stand up in them and walk around is psychologically just such a boost. Yeah, that's all right.
At work, standing up and doing the things that he needs to do, it makes him feel like he's part of the world again. And I think from what he's told me, he's really excited to be up and walking. 5 years and up and walking again is really an amazing feeling for Jason.
We're running, just right through the house. It's not grandma yelling at us. Ready? I know what it feels like to be demoralized to the point of wanting to die, not wanting to live anymore. And if I could take someone who feels like they don't want to live anymore and to show them I've been there and I've gone on and do great things, then I've succeeded. I was in Aspen and things weren't going well, so I decided to move to be closer to family, and I chose San Antonio because of the nice weather. And once I got here, I didn't know anybody that was in a wheelchair. So one day I saw in the paper that it said wheelchair dancing. There was a modern dance company just down the street from where I lived and worked. So I ended up joining a modern dance company, and that's how I ended up meeting Vanessa. When I first called Vanessa up to go out, I wanted us to go out as friends, and that's what I was asking her out as. And then as we started going out, I sat there and said to myself, you know, what makes you so special that you can't be with someone that's in a wheelchair? And that's when my perceptions of her and myself and my insecurities I let go of and became more secure about myself and secure about who I can be with. And when I saw Vanessa's true beauty and that she is, and how beautiful that she is inside and out in person, and how lucky I was to have her in my life, not only in dance, but as my girlfriend and partner and now wife.
I think on our own individual levels, Jason's life and my life are both kind of a defeating the odds kind of story. Mine from birth and not knowing whether or not I was going to make it. Jason's you know, not knowing if he was going to make it at birth or after that if he was going to make it through his accident. You know, we both have a defeating the odds story in that respect. And then when you look at our relationship as a couple and just some of the challenges that we've been through, it's kind of all comes together.
This is your brain in cold water. Healed up. Feel the brain. To me, it's crazy not to do it. They're the people that are sitting out there waiting, watching the grass grow. Those are the crazy ones.
I love the feeling of when, you know, Jason's out in the lake swimming and someone comes up to me and says, "Oh, who's that out in the wheelchair swimming in the lake?" And then I'm able to say, "Yeah, that's my husband."
When I'm out there, I'm not like this, you know, superhuman person that doesn't care about what happens to me. It is scary. It scares me, man. I am scared to tears, where tears are flowing down my face. And to me, that is what makes me alive. Next summer, I want to hopefully get in even better shape and try to swim the Catalina Channel twice, there and back, which would be 42 miles. There you know, you get the water's a little warmer, you get better weather, and not as strong as tide, so, but it's still a 21-mile swim, and the water still is probably about 67 degrees, which isn't too much warmer than this. Swimming in this lake and coming up here and being able to swim in here is amazing, because I was headed up to Rudai the day that I had my accident, and I didn't make it that day. But I made it today, and I'm going to swim in that lake, and it's like coming full circle from not only the time, you know, from driving up to this, but the time from when I was a kid, to get that spirit back. This is one of the most beautiful places in the planet. I started thinking about what I needed to really help keep me streamlined. I finally figured it all out on what the best system was when, ironically, I broke my leg. When I went in, I had this knee immobilizer on, and I swam faster than I ever had, and I hadn't been in the water probably in 2 months since I broke my leg. I need something that'll keep my legs straight, that's really streamlined. And Gary said, "Hey, I got just the thing for you." He made these carbon fiber knee sleeves that make a huge difference. Woo! Woo! You ready? Come on, mama. It's gonna be cold, it's gonna be dark, it's gonna be scary, it's gonna be fun.
In 2002, he became the first American paraplegic to ever swim the English Channel. Now, 32-year-old San Antonio resident Jason Pipley wants to double that distance and go for a Guinness World Record by becoming the first paraplegic to swim the Catalina Channel round trip.
10 to 12 hours is what I was hoping for.
To get there.
Yes.
And then you're gonna rest and then come back?
No, then I'll touch and turn around and come back. I'm about to try to swim from basically LA to Catalina Island and back. It's about 40 miles, and you know, it's going to be a tough swim. The wind just decided to pick up in the last day. Well, I have a lot of reasons why I'm doing this. The first would probably be just to go after a dream that I started when I was a kid. And the next reason is to show that I can still do anything that I want to do despite being a paraplegic. The biggest difference between the Catalina swim and the English Channel as a kid is, you know, there's man-eaters. There's sharks that can eat you in Catalina.
His goal is 42 miles in 24 hours. Pipoli began his Pacific Ocean swim from Cabrillo Beach at 7 p.m. with hopes of returning back here tomorrow night by the same time. His major challenges, cold water, fatigue, adverse weather, and sharks, he says he overcomes with prayer and meditation.
You're too close!
Jason! You're too close! Jason! You're too close to the boat!
You need to.
I thought to myself, man, if I could just bottle that first hour of what I felt like and the fear and the doubt and the demoralizing just from the beginning, if I could bottle that feeling and just show people what I really felt like, they would just be like, I mean, it was overwhelming. It's the closest thing that I got to being in the hospital.
You know, there's like 3-foot waves and then these giant swells. So he's like swimming up and down, up and down. And so he has a lot of, and it just wind. So Jason just has to fight through this. This is a little different, it's a lot longer. The sea is different, it's very rough. And like I said, I think he's having problems keeping a straight line himself because I'm watching him zigzag out there, so he's probably swimming twice the distance that the boat's going. He's hurting bad, physically. I mean, he's like, I need Motrin, and so, yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, he's in pain, but, you know, he still has it in him. I'm just, God, the dark couldn't come any sooner. Just making a carbohydrate drink for him every 20 minutes, and then making sure it's nice and hot. He wants it hot to warm his body.
He's getting it out of the water a little bit more now than he was before. Yeah, because before he was having a hard time getting it out of the water. And I think that it's been the last
It's like
probably
every second.
Yeah, every second. Yeah.
Stroke, he's really getting it out.
But he's doing well. Jason!
What?
You're doing great, Jason.
No sunscreen right now! Later! So don't worry about it! Keep straight with the boat!
Hey, I need some fucking sunscreen on my back.
Not now! Later! We can't do it now! You know, his sunscreen he got in his head. That he had to have sunscreen. He can go one day without sunscreen. He's lifting up. He's lifting his head up. He's looking for land. He needs to keep his head down. He's not keeping his head down. Right behind him! Right behind him! We saw a whale, a big blue whale.
A blue whale? Shut up!
Yes.
That is so cool.
He was shooting, whatever, spouts
A
out.
giant blue whale, like a giant blue whale.
Yeah.
You know how rare that is?
Yeah, and we had a good breakfast. Stay in line with the boat. You're doing
Am I like in a current? I don't feel like I'm going anywhere. The Catalina Island swim for me was mentally the toughest thing I've ever done in my life. I've never, ever have experienced anything like that to where I was so afraid and so scared, and I just mentally wanted to quit from the very, very beginning.
He's probably going to eat something solid. He's probably going to sit for a minute. He's probably going to say a few things to us about. He's probably going to let out some frustrations. Be very happy when he touches shore.
Ooh! Madison, change of goggles! Sunscreen!
Don't worry
I
about
want you to be happy. I want you to be having fun, man. I don't want you to stress out, Jason.
Alrighty,
Jason,
right.
you've been given this wonderful opportunity to even do this and to attempt this.
I'm counting. We're halfway.
Okay.
The only way he can follow the boat is when he's back, behind. So I'm going to talk to Greg, and Greg doesn't let him swim there. He yells, I can't see him, I can't see him. But Jason, when he gets ahead, he has no sense of direction. So he's been zigzagging, and I've been seeing it all day and all night. It's been driving me crazy.
Making progress. Jason, waiting for the dive down in 3 hours.
Try to turn around and come back in last 24 hours and 14 minutes was a feat, I think, for me that would just be real difficult to top. Having my goggles get cloudy, to being run over by the boat captain and the boat, to having to swim back because of the media, trying to switch boats, having to sit out there and tread water, having to swim an extra mile. All those things that went wrong were so mentally tough and taxing on me.
You were in that water for 24 hours and 14 minutes, my man.
Nice work,
That is
buddy.
amazing
Nice
stuff,
work.
man. You are the man. You are the man. You are the man.
You want to know the truth?
Yeah.
I didn't think I was going to make it past an hour. That water was so freezing cold when I first got in.
Dude, you were the freaking man out there.
Are you saying when you started?
I said I was so freezing cold. My right arm went numb.
This is last night.
Yeah, gritted my teeth just.
The warm breath.
That's the first hour.
Move out of the way, guys. Let's go.
That was way colder than the English Channel.
Yeah.
When I got in, my breath didn't go away when I got in the English Channel.
Yeah. You didn't gasp for air. Yeah.
It was unbelievable. And it just zapped everything. All my heat. I was like, oh, my heat's gone. And it's 20 minutes.
And you still swam for 24 hours. Down low, Hannah.
This girl's been all day on that boat.
You good girl?
By all
Are
means.
you proud of your Uncle Jason? I tried, girl. I tried my hardest. Did you have fun?
Yeah.
I'm glad you came.
All right.
It was a great achievement, but it broke me to the point to where I would never want to do anything like that again. But I was so proud of myself that I did it. One of the excitements, too, of doing these swims is going to places you've never been before. Having that sense of adventure and getting that sense of adventure. I'd never been to Seattle, so I went and saw the Seattle Fish Market, went and toured around Seattle a little bit, and just absolutely beautiful. It's just a gorgeous city, and had a lot of fun doing that with the sense of adventure. I had swum the English Channel, I'd swum the Catalina Channel. I wanted to try something different. I wanted to swim a distance of 40 miles because I had swum over 20 and in cold water, so I wanted to go for 40. And sitting there looking at a map, we saw the Puget Sound and then the stretch of the Hood Canal. Okie dokie, let's go. And then I got in the water and woo! That was some chilly, cold water. It took my breath away and I was like, wow. Started to really feel it get colder. And once I got in that channel, boy, the temperature really dropped. And I really didn't expect it to drop like that.
We're down to 60 degrees, water's dropped down from 61. I'm expecting to see 58.
I could just feel the thermal layer as I would reach down and stroke. Each stroke, it would get colder and colder. But I was here and I wanted to give it a shot, and it just added that extreme element to the swim. When you're in that cold water, you really have to burn a lot of calories to keep warm. So I used stuff like goo and carbohydrate food and just stuff with a lot of carbs and drink and water. And it's really important to stay well hydrated with lots of fuel. I ate and drank every 30 minutes.
Here's our first mark on our, we got 1.36 miles to go, and then then after that mark, we're gonna roll down to this one, which is 6.16, and that should put us right at the mouth of the Hood Canal.
I started out swimming real good, just 3 miles an hour, and then it went down after I started getting in the tide coming in, and it went down to about a half a mile an hour, and then I kicked it back up to 3 miles an hour once I got in the main channel. Right before I was about to turn the corner and get a big push in, the tide started coming in. So then I started having to fight the tide, and when I should have been getting a good push. So I lost about 2 hours there. My speed dropped from 3 miles an hour to half a mile an hour.
Oh, you got to go right through. Just keep going straight. Just go straight across all the way to the other side.
I had a wonderful crew that really helped encourage me, and that makes a big difference when you have people, you know, egging you on. My shoulders are worked.
What a hell of a job so far, my unbelievable. God. You stepped it up, you almost triple time.
I don't think I can swim too much further.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Want me to pull up on the GPS and tell you where 20 miles is and we'll go through there? Go right down that hole right through the land, and the current's gonna pick up and start pushing you.
When I first started complaining, I wanted to get out right then because it was so cold. It was just, the temperature was gone. I think I'm cooked. All right, hold on. Ready?
All right, right there. You on? Yeah, got hold something? There we go.
I thought this wetsuit and this cap would help, but you know, having to do this, you really don't want to anticipate how much pain you're going to be in after the swim, but this really is something that you have a large recovery time, and I mean, I'm still sore after it. Shoot, I wish I would be able to last longer, but I'm cooked. You know, you just pop those ibuprofen and try to take it easy. No, the English Channel was 64 and warmed up a little as you further south you got. Oh, man.
Two, three. Right like that. Welcome aboard.
After all that, just one bite.
We were hoping to catch you a fresh salmon.
There we go.
Perfect. Yeah, it's gonna scab. No, I can't feel. Every now and then I have sensations, which are weird, but the toes don't really get cold.
We made it 15.8 miles today on this swim with an average water temperature of 58.3. A little bit colder than we expected, but can't ask for much more than that, that's for sure. Most guys wouldn't last more than 2 hours out here.
And having not go the whole distance, you know, and that's all right. You know, this is for fun. It's to inspire others and to be positive. I would have made it in the 24-hour time period that I planned on doing it in, which I had spent 24 hours swimming straight in Catalina. So I think with the warmer water, I would have been able to come close to achieving it, if not doing it.
One, two, three. Right on.
Easy. 1, 2, 3. My main purpose behind doing this is to try to inspire people to go after their dreams. What I want to do is to continue to inspire. Man, just from the very beginning, you should have seen my face when I got in the water. Oh, man, it was something. But afterwards, it just got colder and colder, and you know. But it was fun. It was fun. It was an adventure. Going back to the very beginning, when I was in that car, crunched up like a sardine, I thought my life was over. And then I was in the hospital on the bed, turning back and forth, and I didn't even want to live anymore. You know, I couldn't see from up there the mark on the tree. And there it is. It's amazing because it's like, man, that car was so crunched. But I just started to listen to people who around me who had been through it before and started to get a little bit of hope, a little bit of faith. That's a piece of the car right there. 210302232.
Keep it as a memento.
There you go. Wow. Until one day, you know, I started to get in the water and swim, and all those little steps turned into swimming the English Channel, swimming the Catalina Channel, coming here in the Puget Sound and lasting 10 hours and swimming almost 17 miles. You know, I just want people to know that to always have hope no matter what situation they're in, that keep striving and dream big and go after those dreams.